If you're trying to figure out what is your attachment style, or perhaps what is the attachment style of the person in your life, whether that be your partner, a colleague, a friend, or somebody who is close to you, this video is going to give you distinguishing factors where you can decide whether the attachment style is leaning more anxious or leaning more fearful avoidant. And you can spot that I'm using the word leaning because we can be on a spectrum of attachment. Attachment is not like this box and label like a horoscope where we put people into this box and then they stay there for the rest of their life. Various factors in our lives could have influenced our attachment, whether that is childhood parenting or relationships that we had in our lives, even your school and the relationships you had with your friends, whether you went to boarding school, whether you changed schools, whether you moved a lot. So a lot of socio-economic factors could have influenced and do influence our attachment style. So therefore, it is nice to understand all of the attachments and kind of like just see which behaviors am I exhibiting. You don't have to box yourself in. Just see like, oh, this is the behavior that I'm exhibiting that is not super helpful in my life, whether that is from the other group of attachment. And I'm just going to work on that so that I can have better relationships, happier relationships, right? Okay, so this is the pep talk that is over. Welcome to this channel. If you're new here, I really appreciate you giving this video a try. I hope that you enjoy it and find value in it. My name is Patrycja Mahocka, and I'm the owner of the Love and Thrive School, where I help people shift from surviving to thriving and create a life of love, safety, and freedom. So a lot of people have asked me to keep these videos short, and I'm not a short form girl. So I'm going to just have my notes and I'm going to look at my notes so I can really focus in. Okay, so the main differences between the anxious attachment style and the fearful avoidant attachment style is that the anxious person is not really scared of their partner or the people in their lives, the people that they love. They are anxious that they're going to lose the love, yes, so there is that fear. However, the fearful avoidant is going to be scared and at the same time loving the person that they are connecting with. They might find themselves questioning a lot. Is this person manipulating me? Is this person safe? If they have been through narcissistic abuse, they might question, is this person the narcissist? Am I the narcissist? And kind of have this flip-flopping between the two, which will then cause them to flip-flop in the relationship. That flip-flopping, you might have heard it if you've been doing research on attachment theory. The flip-flopping or yo-yoing is basically moving towards the relationship and then also pulling back. So they move towards the relationship and they can sometimes cling, which makes them look like the anxious preoccupied attachment. And then when their fear kicks in, for whatever reason, maybe their partner told them a white lie, maybe their trust was broken in some way, maybe the partner lost their temper, maybe the partner flirted with somebody else and now that triggered the fearful avoidant. Maybe the fearful avoidant was giving a lot into the relationship and then the other partner wasn't giving back in those same ways, and the fearful avoidant feels unloved, uncared for, and used. So there might be a lot of triggers that might trigger that fear, trigger the fear of being vulnerable in the relationship, being hurt in the relationship, which will then make them switch to the avoidant part and distance themselves from the relationship, which you don't see in the anxious preoccupied individual. The anxious preoccupied individual tends to move towards the relationship very often and consistently. They want to resolve conflict, and even though it might not look like it to the other attachment styles because they might fight and pursue their partner, however, that is in a way of trying to get the partner closer, trying to resolve the conflict, trying to fight for the relationship. and be close together. Even in conflict, they want to be close together. Where sometimes the fearful avoidant might actually pull away. So this is where the fearful avoidant has this tendency to sometimes isolate. When things get too much for them, they feel overwhelmed, overburdened with responsibility, they feel burnt out or tired, they will most probably isolate and want to resolve big problems in their lives by themselves. Where the anxious preoccupied will want to co-regulate and work with other people to find support. Now, this makes you think that the anxious preoccupied is more of a dependent person, which they are, and then the fearful avoidant, they might think they are independent, but they are actually hyper independent, where they don't know when to ask for help and be vulnerable and let other people in. So that's the avoidance, right? The dismissive avoidant and the fearful avoidant, you can see both, or you can hear both of those are avoidant. That means they have that same characteristic where they want to pull away from the relationship and kind of lick their wounds or resolve their problems by themselves, because they don't trust that other people can do it as well as them. They don't trust that other people can handle their vulnerability, because in the past they have been let down by other people. So this is why they pull away in those ways and often isolate. So with the anxious preoccupied, what you will see is this consistency of clinging, moving towards the relationship. They almost can never have enough of the person in the relationship. They always want more. Sometimes they are sitting on the couch with their partner and they want more. And there was this funny Instagram reel the other day, is like, when my girlfriend is too far away from me when we are sitting together on the couch, right? And then she gets on top of him. And this shows the anxious preoccupied attachment style. The person wants closeness. Sorry that you can hear the banging, and that again, I didn't close the door to the other room. I forgot that because I like the breeze. It's so hot in here. So sorry if that is a bit disturbing. And then on the other side, the fearful avoidant might do the same, where they might cling to a partner. They want that closeness, they want the connection, but at some stage they are going to pull away. And I guess that you can only see over a period of time with the fearful avoidant. Everybody has a different time period, but there's like a pattern. So for women, just because they're going through different hormonal cycles, energy cycles within the month, you might notice that women tend to be more cyclical, and almost like you can spot the pattern, like maybe 2 weeks before their menstruation or a week before their menstruation, they want to pull away, have more space. So knowing that, you can already implement certain tactics and understand that, you know what, during that time of the month or of my schedule, I'm going to need more space. And then communicate that with the partner, or the people in your life, your work even. If you are your own boss, schedule your work around that, so that you can work with yourself instead of against yourself. And also the flip-flopping can happen because you overgive. The fearful avoidant overgives during a certain period, whether that is in the week or a month or a few months, and then they pull back because they feel like exhausted, and they're not really good at receiving. So they don't know how to take from people and replenish in that way. When in conflict, the anxious preoccupied individual will criticize and make snarky remarks, and they are hoping to get a response from their partner. I know it can sound a bit crazy, but they are hoping to get a positive response when their partner might kind of like switch on to them and all of a sudden realize that, yeah, maybe I did come home late, maybe I didn't prioritize you, maybe you need more attention, you need more connection. So that's what the anxious partner will do. Now, the fearful avoidant might kind of do the same thing, but most of the time in conflict, when they criticize or they get angry, their fear is activated. So they are in full fight mode. and flight mode. So they might want to really push their partner away drastically and become and move into isolating, okay? Because they're really scared that their partner is not good for them, that they're going to get really hurt physically, mentally, emotionally in the relationship, and they need to self-preserve, okay? So that is a deep sympathetic nervous system overdrive that takes over the brain. And this is why I tell people that I help people shift from surviving to thriving. What does it mean? It means that basically when we have these insecure attachment styles, we are more in a sympathetic nervous system overdrive where we are just in survival mode. And that survival mode kicks in and takes over our lives. Our defense mechanisms kick in and take over our lives. And we need to shift into thriving, okay? It's a physiological thing that we do. It's a mental thing that we do. And when we shift into thriving, into the more parasympathetic nervous system, where we can socially engage, sorry, my language, my tongue is not awake yet, socially engage, and then resolve problems, work with people, feel relaxed, feel happy. That's when we really start to thrive. On a physiological level, that is when our body heals, okay? All right, so abandonment versus betrayal. So the anxious preoccupied is more focused on abandonment. Even when it comes to trust, they don't trust the person to stay. And they fear abandonment. Whereas the main fear of the fearful avoidant is that they will be betrayed, that they will be humiliated, that they will be made a fool of. So that's where the trust comes in, and the fear of abandonment is almost like secondary to that. Like, yeah, they're scared to lose people, but they know that they are okay by themselves. And sometimes they feel better by themselves. Out of a relationship, they might feel like a superhero. Like, I'm healed, I'm fine, I've got good friends, I've got activities that I like, I've got a job that it maybe challenges me, maybe it's difficult, but I excel at it. Okay, so they have a lot of things going for them that makes them feel happier when they are by themselves. And then when they get into a relationship, all of those deeper wounds start to come up, and then it makes it really, really challenging. And the betrayal is one of those. So the fearful avoidant, not as scared of abandonment on a conscious level, because subconsciously, you know, the fear is there. And then the anxious preoccupied will be more preoccupied and fear abandonment. Don't leave me, don't go away, let's not separate, let's be together all the time, and cling to the relationship and the partner like that. Whereas in their communication, even over text, over a phone call, the fearful avoidant might actually want a little bit of space. Maybe they don't want you to message them all the time because they have other activities, and sometimes they don't have good boundaries, so they might feel pressured to constantly be on their phone and take time away from other activities, like especially their work is very important to them a lot of the time. And the reason for that being is that they want to be independent. So a lot of the time, fearful avoidants put a lot of focus on their work because that is something that they either excel in and get their self-worth from, or it is their source of independence where they can look after themselves. So when things comes in between them and their work, that also activates their survival instinct, and they might actually want to pull away from the relationship. So just check that out. Of course, this is if a person is working. You know, this could also be applied to when people are studying, or just to when, what else could that be applied to? That in the form of career, studying, or perhaps their other attachments, right? Like maybe their family, but often there is a lot of drama in the family, so perhaps with their friends, okay? So if the texting and the calling is interfering with something that is very important to them, they might get a little bit annoyed with that. However, the flip-flopping part comes in, and this kind of like overlays now with the dismissive avoidant. The fearful avoidant will be more anxious with the avoidant partner, so they might all of a sudden activate and act like the anxious person, messaging the partner a lot, calling the partner a lot, especially if their betrayal wound was activated as well. They might be checking up on their partner a lot. The anxious partner is going to be activated more into abandonment. Okay, don't leave me. Do you love me? Do you still love me? Did I say something wrong? Trying to please their partner. So the anxious preoccupied is scared to be alone, fearful avoidant, likes to be alone some of the time. And the anxious preoccupied person will put their partner on a pedestal consistently, and they might look down on themselves, not even their partner, just see in the friendship group, you will see the anxious person going like, oh, you're so beautiful, and they will find some kind of fault within themselves. It's like, oh, but my hair is like this, and I'll never be as beautiful as you, I'll never be as successful as you, or you are so powerful, I could never do that. So that kind of language where somebody else is better than them, so they put other people on a pedestal and put themselves down. Where the fearful avoidant will sometimes put the person on a pedestal, and then sometimes the person will fall off the pedestal. Especially at the beginning of the relationship, their partner might be on that high pedestal, and then they will fall off that pedestal quite hard the minute the fearful avoidant sees that there is imperfection. And the reason why this happens, it's not kind of just to be mean, it's really that fear that other people can hurt me in a really dangerous way, where then later on I will struggle to regain my own strength, my own autonomy. So that's where it comes from. It really comes from that self-preservation and a lot of fear. Okay, so this covers most of the points, and just remember that attachment styles can be healed. We can all shift from surviving to thriving. We can all shift from insecure attachment style to becoming securely attached. I have done it, my clients have done it. So well done for being on this journey, for doing this work and taking the time to spot your patterns. Phenomenal work. And I hope that you could just keep growing strength to strength. Won't you just do me a favor and let me know if it would be helpful for you if I wrote these things like in a bullet form or a table form and put it on my website. I just want to know if you want to maybe like print it out or keep a file with it, just to spot the differences, because I know when I'm talking it might not all sink in for everybody. We all learn differently. So let me know if that would be of value to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you again. Big love.